Hey guys, welcome to ITS Tactical. Today we're going to be going over dead drop devices, and if you're not familiar with dead drops, hopefully you've read a couple of our articles where we talk about them and show some of the commercially available dead drops. But today what we're going to do is actually show you some do-it-yourself ways to create your own dead drops and to create things to leave messages. So essentially what a dead drop is that. It's a way to leave messages for another person without actually having to meet them in person. Typically that's done with what's called a signpost, or a way to note that the dead drop is live or it's been set so the other person can come along and collect it, basically. The dead drops that I'm going to show today are a couple that I made for a SCG International Human class, or Human Information, Human Intelligence, sorry. And essentially what human means is the gathering of human intelligence, or person-to-person intelligence. So what I'm going to be showing is those dead drops that I made for the course. So enough of me yakking, let's actually show the dead drops, and I'll kind of show you what I put together. Okay, so what we have are 3 different dead drops that I created, and each of these has a place to store a message that can be passed back and forth, like I was saying. 2 of these are more overt dead drop devices, and 2 of them are more covert dead drop devices, and one of them is more an overt dead drop device. I guess you could kind of consider this fake rock more of an overt dead drop, because it, if you create one that looks decent, I happen to think this one is fairly decent, and kind of does look like a real rock to the untrained eye. It kind of broke apart on me when I brought it back from class, so I had to hot glue it together. That's why you see that seam that's going down it. But if you create a good enough dead drop that looks like a rock, obviously it could technically be classified as an overt dead drop, or something that can be placed where the human eye can see it and not think twice about it being real or fake. Before I get into how I created these, let's actually look at each one of these in detail, and I'll show you the different methods that I've used to conceal something to hide a message. So let's just start with the rock, since I was already showing that. Essentially what I did, and most of these are made out of this green, what do you call it? I guess floral foam is what it's called. And they aren't, the rock and the, I don't know what you'd call this, I guess a grass mound, or essentially it's just floral moss is what's on this thing. But those were actually created out of a half dome like floral foam piece, and I just kind of molded it. What the great thing is about this floral foam is that you can actually, literally with your fingers, you can begin to shape this stuff into what you need it to be. It's very messy. It gets all over the place, which I won't exactly get into that today, but it's a great tool to be used. And one thing I want to say right off the bat is that everything that I'll show you here in a minute that I used to create these was all found at a Walmart within a couple of hours. It was a last minute kind of tasker at the end of the day, and they said, hey, at 6 o'clock, one of your take-home assignments tonight is to create 2 dead drop devices. So went to the local Walmart, started to look frantically around for supplies, and this is kind of what I built based on what I could find at a Walmart. So just know that these materials are out there. It's not like I got any of this stuff at places that it's going to be hard to get. It's all at a Walmart. So anyhow, this rock was created with that floral foam, and in the bottom of it is the concealment device. And that essentially is just I guess these were pins, like used in sewing pins. It was a box of pins that I just emptied the pins out of and used the box. And then inside of that, to aid in the waterproofness, I guess, of the message, I used one of these little pill pouches. These are called Easy Dose pill pouches. These are just little tiny Ziploc bags that they sell in a big pack like this at Walmart. You can get a ton of them for just a couple of bucks, I think. Not even that. I think it was under $2 actually. So that can just be put into the CD or the concealment device and stuck right in the bottom there, and pass back and forth. You could really hopefully leave it as an overt dead drop and put it right out there in the open. The way I created that was using the fluorofoam. I just kind of chunked off edges until I kind of came up with this rock shape, and it wasn't anything I was following, just kind of trying to make a rock. And then I used 2 different colors of gray paint and one of these foam brushes, and I just dabbed it on, kind of like this, which gave it kind of a textured area there. And then I went out and got some dirt from outside, and while the paint was still wet, I just sprinkled it over that, and that's why you can see the brownish color in there, because that's from the dirt from outside. And then this grass mound is kind of the same way. I didn't shape it as much as I did the rock, because I knew I was just going to put moss on it. And I just used this floral moss stuff, again from Walmart. Grabbed a hot glue gun and just hot glued all this moss directly to that piece of fluorofoam. I did kind of angle it a little bit. You can see it's more of a squarish shape. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it. But what I've got inside of it is simply, if I can pull it out here, and what's great about this fluorofoam is you can push things right into it very easily. It's almost like putty if you're pressing something into it. So what I use there in the bottom of this one is half of a contact lens case. And contact lens cases usually come in a set of 2 like this, and you can just snap them apart and you've got 2 concealment devices or CDs right there. And you can use them by themselves, really. You could essentially stick a piece of Velcro or something to the bottom of it and throw it up underneath a sink or in a public restroom or something like that, someplace you could pass a message back and forth to somebody. Dead drops have been around for a very long time. They date back to the Cold War. One of the articles I'll link to that we've written about before, some of the commercially available dead drop devices, and we've got some history in there on dead drop devices and concealment devices, or CDs. So essentially what's in the bottom of this thing is nothing more than a contact lens case, and that can just be popped in there, and then you can leave this wherever you need to for somebody. So the third dead drop device that I'm going to show that I made here, and just to reiterate how that I constructed this, it was hot glue, the floor moss, as I said, and then I actually went outside and got some wood chips that were around the area and glued them to this. The better way to make one of these is, I didn't really know where we were going to be operating at, so I wasn't sure what to come up with as far as a dead drop goes, but if you can match the foliage of the area you're going to leave something like this at, it would be much more to your benefit than using this fake floral moss. It will blend in well, but obviously if you have dead grass and stuff, this might stand out a little more than it should. So let's get into the third dead drop device. And this can actually also be used as a place to stash something as well. But what I did is, as I was searching around Walmart kind of looking for different things to use as dead drop devices, I stumbled upon this little Brute canister, and a light bulb kind of went off in my head, and I thought, hey, that would be an interesting idea for one. So what I wanted to do was hollow out a portion of this and actually store something in here. But then I realized that had I have done that and just cut something off, it wouldn't have been able to be used again, and if someone opened it up, it would definitely not look like real deodorant. So as you can see, it doesn't shake around at all. It really feels like a stick of deodorant. So what I did to recreate that was I pushed this all the way up until the actual deodorant popped off. Then what I did is I cut off about, I'd say, 1/4 to 1/3 of the deodorant stick, and I used this modeling clay that I found and created modeling clay around that dead space that was left, and again stuck one of those contact lens cases in the bottom here. So as you can see, it just pulls right off, and you can reattach that there. And what's great about that modeling clay that's built up around that deodorant stick is it does adhere to the deodorant stick, surprisingly. I didn't think it would, but it also kind of creates a buffer when you stick it back in. And I can shove it back in here. So it creates some resistance when you push it back down. You just kind of clean up the edge where you have some leftover stuff that gets caught up in there. And it keeps it from shaking, so it actually does still feel like regular deodorant because of that modeling clay that's built up around it. And I kind of took a paper towel and, you know, rubbed down the surface so it actually looked like deodorant that had been used. I mean, I guess I could have put it on, but I'm not a big fan of Brute, so I'd rather it got on my hands than underneath my arms. So that's another dead drop device. I'll kind of show you some of the other items real quick that I use to create these things while we're on camera. Obviously, there's more of that floral foam that I got. The hot glue gun, which I showed earlier. I had to use an X-Acto knife for a couple of things that kind of helped provide some of the flat areas that I cut off of the rock itself. Again, those Easy Dose little bags there, some Velcro, the modeling clay, and the only thing I really don't have here that I used is that gray paint to paint this rock with, and I picked that up at Walmart too. So again, these are just some simple items that you can pick up from Walmart to create your own dead drop devices. I hope this article helps you and inspires you to create your own. What's great about these too, before I let you go, is that these can be used as places to stash things too. They don't have to necessarily be dead drop devices and used to pass messages back and forth. You can get elaborate with them. Hopefully, like I said, it inspired you to kind of create some, maybe some bigger ones. So be sure to share some comments on this YouTube video and also on the article of kind of what your ideas on these are and what you think you'll make. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the article. Be sure to view the actual full write-up on ITS Tactical and check out our other videos. Thanks for watching.